All in favor, aye? Any opposed? Thank you. Report, supervisor. Well, life has, I received after our last meeting a notice from the EDP Renewables with a copy of a notice from the New York Independent System Operator, or that the on September 7th, 2018, the Arkwright Wind LLC had completed trial operation of the Arkwright Wind Farm, and the letter confirmed the developer commenced the commercial operation of the unit effective September 8, 2018. September 12th, the assessor met with the wind company and IDA to discuss what would be required of the company in the way of info for assessment purposes. 3 people came in to ask for information, and there were 25 phone calls received at her office and her home. Respectfully submitted, Signe Rominger, IAO. Old business. Report on the windmill farm construction project. I'm going to be making that report. The EDP has advised us that they will not be able to attend tonight. We have received 9 complaints about noise, headaches, and throwing up. The latter 2 conditions are not governed by our contract, but the noise testing plan is, and I have instructed our engineer, the one that we hired to supervise the construction of the project, to do the noise testing. There are 3 stages to it. Let me read to you Exhibit H, which is the noise testing plan. This plan sets forth, this is in the hosted community agreement. This plan sets forth the process for post-construction noise monitoring. Except as otherwise defined herein, all of the terms in this plan have the meanings provided for in the agreement. The following protocol is the recommended sequence of steps for conducting random noise setback testing and noise complaint screening. Each an initial noise test. Pursuant to section 8.1 c and 8.1 d of the agreement. If the town plans to conduct either random noise setback testing or noise complaint screening, it shall provide advance notice to the company's office and or the company representative's mobile phone prior to the initial noise test. That's been done. Such notice shall provide the company with proposed location, date, and time of the initial noise test. At the company's option, the company shall be permitted to accompany the town during the initial noise test. The recommended sequence of steps for conducting noise measurement is as follows. 1. Before going out to take a measurement, check that the noise meter has a current calibration certificate issued by an accredited laboratory. 2. Familiarize yourself with the noise meter and its settings. 3. Set the microphone at 1 to 1.5 meters, that's 3 to 5 feet above the ground, and where feasible, avoid measurements within 8 meters, that's 26 feet, of any walls, buildings, and reflect operating surfaces. 4, ensure weather conditions are suitable, no heavy precipitation, for example, and sufficient wind speeds for the normal operation of the turbines. Note these prevailing conditions in the logbook. I should point out that the complaints tend to have been when the wind was at 12 miles an hour and coming from the southeast. We have not tested because those weather conditions have not existed. They are not expected to exist this week, but next week the projections are that they will be. And at that time, our town engineer that we hired will set up the equipment and test. And we will so notify ED. Do a field calibration of noise meter per the instruction manual. Conduct the sound measurement no closer to a turbine than the applicable noise setback. Where noise other than that under consideration occurs during measurement, take another reading to avoid the readings being contaminated. At the end of the measurements, do another field calibration of the noise meter. If there is more than 1 decibel variation between the calibrated level and the first calibrated level, the measurements may be invalid, in which case the measurement procedure will need to be repeated. Document observation of weather and noise that were heard during the measurements, including the time of specific events that may affect readings, such as a frog croaking or a dog barking. The town shall notify the company of the completion of the initial noise test and will describe and document the weather conditions, that is the temperature, wind speed, precipitation, and cloud cover at the time of the test, the date and time of the sound measurement, the location of the sound measurement with as much specificity as is reasonably available, the brand, type, and model of the noise meter used, identify any other obvious sources of ambient noises such as farming operations, lawn mowing, use of power tools, etc. during the sound measurement and the measured sound level in dBA. If the town, following the initial noise test, the town determines that the results indicate that the project is not in compliance with the noise setback, the town shall notify and coordinate with the company to repeat the noise test on another date. That's called the validation test. The town may retain a qualified engineering consultant to complete the validation test. The qualified engineering consultant's fee shall be paid out of the noise test escrow, which shall not exceed $900 per validation test. In the event the qualified engineering consultant's fee exceeds $900, the amount over that $900 will be paid by the town. The company will coordinate with the town to conduct the test with the turbine or turbines that are suspected to influence the initial noise test, and the validation test results in operating and non-operating modes. The time for the company to maintain each suspect turbine in a non-operating mode shall not exceed 15 minutes without approval from a company representative, which approval shall not be unreasonably withheld. The town shall choose a date and time for the validation test by reviewing weather forecasts and selecting a date and time that is similar with regard to anticipated temperature, cloud cover, wind speeds, wind direction, and precipitation. The company shall assist the town in selecting a date for the validation test. The town shall make its best efforts to conduct the validation test within 14 days of the initial noise test result and shall provide at least 24 hours notice to the company. I think that if the project sound level is 50 dBA or less house using the L10 noise descriptor, the company shall not be considered in violation of the noise setback. As you can see, this is no easy matter. We have retained the first test is considered our expense, but we have money in the $350,000 account that the engineer has available to him. So it will, in actuality, not be our cost. So that's where we are right now. Even a lawyer can be nonplussed at reading documents. But that is what we face, and that is the. I'm sorry, the public comments will be addressed at the end of the meeting. That is where we are at the present moment on the wind farm construction. We have 9 complaints. Out of the 450 residential locations and 1,006 population, I don't think that's too bad. Okay. Public comments. There was one back there. What? Now.
Okay. My question was.
And you are?
My name is Stanley Childs. And I'm sorry I'm late, but I got out of work late. You're testing for the sound for the windmills.
Yes.
Now, where is that going to be taken exactly? And how many windmills are going to be present?
We will test the windmills that were reported as causing sound problems. And I do not, and it will be as of the date we start testing.
Because I am one of those people that made a complaint.
Okay.
And
that windmill will be tested.
And I happen to have 13 windmills that I can see from my property. 6 were within 5,000 feet of the house. And like this one right here, I can hear out here right now. Times that at least by 6 that are closest to my house within 2,000 feet. It gets loud. 1, 2, you get 6, it gets loud. I mean, it gets to the point that inside my barn, which I have a business, and my house, the windows will rattle. And I can't make that up. I've got video, it happens. And it goes to, you can actually feel it. You can feel the concussion. That's a lot of wind, a lot of sound. And when the wind gets up around 25 miles an hour plus, it sounds like an airport that does not want to land. It just continuously goes.
Stanley Childs?
Stanley Childs. My house is dead on the loop road. I'm the only house between 2 driveways.
I will tell our engineer to be sure and check that out.
And there was one other question was, you guys paved the road,
Yeah.
okay? In front of my house, there is a 6 to 8 inch, right now it's almost 9 inches, because of some of the erosion that has occurred. The road is so high, the water went over our ditch, which had to be 10 feet tall. The water was that deep, rolled down the road, and now there is a curb in front of my house that is, I'm glad we have trucks. I have a vehicle in my yard right now on ramps because the exhaust hit, because that's not just the erosion, but to begin with, and I have, before they even did, a 6 to 8 inch drop of my driveway. And the ramp that they put up was only 6 inches back. It's still like this, small cars. And somebody right now, exactly, I have the plate number, they pulled over because one of the tractors were coming down carrying a bucket full of stone from the windmill. They were coming up and down their driveway. He went off the road. His A-arm, his tire wasn't even touching the ground. It was grinding, and he finally got it back up on the road.
I will call Jim Zimba, our town's superintendent of highways. He's in charge of the roads. And tell him about your problem. Have your name and address and tell him exactly. Freddie, will you...
Have they done the shoulder there yet, Freddie? Have they done the shoulder there yet?
No. We're back just the other side of that loop road driveway, between the next house there.
Okay. So when you build up your shoulder, you think you might correct?
Yeah, well, when we go through and do the shoulders.
Yeah, okay. Freddie is in the department, but I will
And I-
call Jim.
Okay, and I understand. And I noticed all the roads, all the driveways that were paved, you guys finished them up nice and pretty, and there's no drop. It's nice. But all of us that have dirt driveways,
The county
It's
did
just
that
a-
with the paper.
I mean, it looks like crap. And I don't care how much dirt you put there, you have to really build up back because, like I said, the erosion, the water that comes down our hill, it's going to be gone. And who's
They won't do
responsible
the
for that?
driveway off the public right of way.
Hmm?
They won't do the driveway off the public right of way.
Well, they got to be responsible for some kind of
The
fee.
public right of way.
So where's the right of way start and where does it end?
Down there, it's probably a 5-rod road, I can't tell you exactly.
Aren't they about 30 feet?
It's about
Right
33.
I don't know exactly what the right of way is. We don't have, in our town, all the roads are on property owned by the adjacent landowners. We don't have roads that have been conveyed title-wise to the town. So I don't know what the right of way is, but Jim Zimba, he is the fellow in charge.
It's pretty much the back side of the ditch all along.
Pretty close.
Well, even if they would have done that, it had some kind of slope. And realistically, and if you all know, if you drive down the road, you'll see piles of asphalt where you guys have took the trucks and they cleaned them out. If you added that stuff up, we would have took care of some of these problems.
Yeah.
It was wasted asphalt, and I know you guys got to clean your trucks out, but damn, that would have been great. Put it right there.
Any other questions?
I know the one behind our place, I've been having a decibel meter on it, and it's averaging at a 15-mile-an-hour wind, it's averaging 51, 55, with peaks in the 80s and 90s. So
Have you?
yeah.
And they know about you?
Yeah,
Okay, that
but
will be correct.
I can't understand why the town's got to pay for it when
Well,
it's their
we
problem.
don't. We do, but we don't.
Okay.
We do not have to, under the terms
It's
of
already
the
funded.
agreement, the first test we pay for, we have the money from them to pay for.
Okay.
Any other questions? Yes.
Hi,
I haven't
My name
asked,
is
I know,
Carrie.
I don't know you.
my name is Carrie Ann Babcock, and I live on Ball Road in the town of Arkwright.
Yeah.
So I'm wondering, okay, so there were 9 people that complained about the windmills. There were 9 total individuals that complained, despite the fact that I've talked to probably about 30 people at this point that have told me directly that they have called and complained. So we're going to base this fact off of a company that set these windmills up, that there were 9 people. That's fact number 1. Okay, so number 2, I'm wondering who is the independent firm that is going to do this sound study? What is the name of the firm that will be doing that? The third party.
Yeah, go ahead.
Is that you?
Got no answer?
No. Who's the third party are you guys doing the study, the sound study? Like the town board is doing the
The
study?
engineer that we hired,
They will hire.
that,
Okay, we would like his name and we would like his phone number. Or her, I'm sorry, her.
I was like, yours.
No, don't go there, because we're just trying to get facts out.
Well, okay.
If they want us to stand up and give facts, then they need to stand up and give us facts also.
I will give you.
No, thank you, that's all I want, that's all I want. I want the name of the company, and we'd also like a more detailed description of the procedure as far as wind speeds, wind direction, where they go, people's homes. Are they going based off of just
The
people's
company
complaints?
the company is GHD.
GHD.
Yes, and it's in Buffalo, and
Okay, good to know.
just a minute. Friendly phone.
Okay, my 3 minutes might be up at this point.
No,
so-
it's on pause. It's on pause.
Oh, okay, that's good.
The engineer in charge is David Britton.
David Britton, B-R. Britton, David Britton, and what did you say the phone number was?
I haven't said it yet.
Okay.
362-8815.
362
8815.
8815. Okay. Thank you.
716 area code?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay. You can tell him you got you got his number from Fred Norton.
I think he'll see it on YouTube, so I think he'll know.
Oh, I see.
Did you guys do this so it's not like the fox watching the hen house?
Pardon?
Did you guys do this with the noise deal so it's not like the fox watching the hen house?
The engineer is a separate.
No, this is a separate company.
That's
The
good.
GHD is actually our engineering firm. They hire the acoustics.
They were formerly known as the CRA Infrastructure and Engineering.
Costello Revere.
They have no connection
Costello
with
Rovers.
the developer. And we chose him because they're familiar with the construction and the engineering, and they had supervised the construction for representing us. So, yes,
Mike Stone, Straight Road, Fredonia.
yes.
Why does EDP need to know when the sound test will occur? Why do they need a date and a specific time? I think you can probably infer, as well as anybody in this room can infer, that they'll adjust that turbine to meet whatever the decibel reading has to be. Wouldn't you agree with that? You have to agree with that.
No, I don't agree with it because I have no idea. Adjusting a turbine
Absolutely.
isn't like adjusting, a coffee maker. It's a major.
Mr. Norton, you know as well as I know, they can adjust the trim on those blades, they can adjust the direction that those nacelles are pointing, and that adjusts
We
the
have
noise.
a contract with them that we negotiated, and they want to be there. Our engineer will easily be able to tell whether or not they are adjusting before.
Do you have a meteorologist that's going to, an expert that's going to pick the date and time based on the specific winds? I can sit in my yard tonight, and I know damn well at 80 degrees tonight, I can't leave my windows open because I won't be able to sleep. And I've complained several times.
The person that they have is their expert on wind acoustics, wind power measurement. Whether he's a meteorologist or an engineer, I don't know. I've never met him. Okay.
I would also like to know, will this test be repeated in the wintertime once the leaves are down? Because I know darn well what's going to happen, as well as everybody in this room knows what's going to happen, that it's going to meet the noise level. What happens when my leaves
I'm
are
not
down?
assuming that it will. I've already, we have one person here that says the noise level, as far as he's measured, has not been met.
I can show you my phone app that says the same thing. I record it every day, sir,
Okay.
and it's excessive, and it's getting worse.
Well, again, your name is Stone?
Stone, correct.
I don't think that this was a malicious, mean thing that you intended to do, but it is what it is, and it's not good, and some of us are getting sick. We don't feel good, it's loud, and I don't think that you guys meant to do this. But I just want you to understand that we're trying to tell you that something is wrong, and we hope that you can hear that.
We are going to test.
Okay, good, I'm glad, thank you.
And, it's Chris Jackson.
Yeah.
This is, pardon my French, but this is going to be an ass ache for you guys. Seriously. I mean, it is. And this problem has to get resolved. And yeah, you guys didn't maliciously say, okay, screw them, you know? But I got a 4-year-old little girl that every now and then, when the wind's just right, she'll get out of bed, drop to her knees just like that. 4-year-old girl. And then she'll get up, she'll follow in.
And you have said, you have notified
EDP.
EDP, okay.
And it, I can deal with it. But for that 4-year-old little girl,
We're gonna test, you know,
Yeah.
and we will correct.
I firmly believe that people, because people have different, hearing of different tones affects people. And there's tones that your daughter's gonna hear that you or I might not hear. It may not affect us, not even necessarily hear it, but feel it.
Yes.
So, and that's where all this has to play out.
yeah.
You guys are talking about a third party, this GHD. If I have a complaint at work, I call OSHA. OSHA comes in, they do their sound tests. Why can't we have a government party like that that is non-biased to any of this, come in, OSHA, and do their own tests? It shouldn't even cost us anything.
It's not gonna cost us anything with this, because they have not, the engineers that we have hired.
It isn't about engineers, it's about the sound. I don't
Yeah.
care who takes it.
Okay,
The engineers,
we did not.
when you
know
do
that.
surveys, whoever pays for the survey usually wins on the survey, or their little things. OSHA is non-biased, non-partaking in any of this. What's wrong
I
with
have
OSHA?
several clients that would argue against that. Anybody else? They have a motion to adjourn.
Bruce Roll, Brainerd Road.
What? I'm
Bruce
sorry.
Roll,
Yes,
Brainerd
Bruce.
Road.
Yes.
I have a letter to read. I have copies to submit to the town supervisor, the town board, and the town clerk. This was a beautiful, healthy, peaceful, safe place to live. The essence of our Arkwright home has been destroyed, and there's no end in sight for the continuation of this destruction in Chautauqua County, Western New York, and New York State. Arkwright residents are being sickened. Arkwright residents, entire families are being driven from their homes. The very people who have taken an oath to protect the health and welfare of all the residents of Arkwright, the town supervisor and town board, have sold us out to big wind. They're not windmills, it's not a wind farm, it's not a wind park. They're 500-foot industrial wind turbine towers, inappropriately and illegally sited in the AR1 agricultural residential district. The only wind farm is the space between someone's ears. The term wind park was made up by the turbine developer. There are 9 500-foot industrial wind turbines visible from our kitchen window. What we haven't seen anymore are eagles landing on our property since February 7, 2017, when clear cutting for the project began. We have not seen any eagles in the Brainerd Road, Miller Road, Skinner Road blocks since 100-foot transmission line towers strung with 5 cables were erected in 2017. This is the first summer in 28 years we haven't seen any bats flying in our yard. When the turbines were activated in recent weeks, we noticed unusual sounds inside our home. On one occasion, there was a sound like a jet engine nearby, and another time there was a strong vibration, humming sound permeating the house. The onset of headaches coincided with these incidents. Our beautiful, healthy, peaceful, safe place to live has been sold for the promise of a few dollars, our own taxpayer dollars, no less.
Okay. I have, yes, Mike?
Yeah, Larry Wilcox, I live on the upper end of Cable Road in the town of Arkwright. And I just want to say that from my property, I can see 4 turbines. And I've gone outside on a number of occasions and tried to listen for them. And if I listen really careful, I can hear one. I don't know which one it is. I can hear one. Today I was out there because the board meets tonight, and I was out there today and I was listening and listening and listening. And I said to my wife, I don't hear them today. So must be I got some quiet turbines. But why I'm pleased to hear that this board had the foresight to put into the plan the ability to test wind turbines in an area to see whether in fact the company has exceeded the decibel level that they said the turbines would create. That's a plus for the town. What I do find it ludicrous that someone would suggest that if they know they're going to be testing, they'll go out there and turn the sound down, and once they leave, they'll turn the sound back up. I would think that the company would want to be a good neighbor to everybody. So
Can you stand
that
right
to me
here?
is ludicrous, but the board should be complimented because they have this mechanism whereby they can test and take care of the situation if in fact they find that the decibel level is too high.
Thank you. May I have a motion for adjournment?
I'll make that one.